A lot of guys that drive trucks. They're funny.
Yeah, well, I'm not.
Hey,
But
bud,
yes, sir.
I was just curious, what's your position? Are you flat, globe, or neither?
So what's interesting is, and I don't know if I shared this with Tron in the past or one of the other groups. I was a truck driver for 30 years. A lot of those years, I was actually a instructor. And during the pandemic, a lot of pilots lost their ability to fly because they were just out of a job. And it was a very unique day because I was off the truck. I went over to the school to assist in the training of the other new students. And I always ask the new students, I said, so what did you do before you were a truck driver? And this guy, now keep in mind, I had studied flat earth at that point for about 3 years. And my pastor actually, who I thought was crazy for saying it, but I did about 6 months worth of study and then another 2 years after that.
Dude, I remember talking to you. I remember you,
Yeah.
bud. You got a pastor who's a flat earther, and so do I, right? I remember you now. I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother. I remember you now,
Yeah.
man. Go ahead.
So anyway, as a student, he goes, I used to be a pilot that I flew Airbuses at the second and third world countries, I think it was. And he goes, I said, so you know? He goes, know what? He goes, the earth is flat. He goes, yeah. I said, well, like I just told him 2 + 2 is 4, right? And he goes, yeah. What about it? He goes, well, do you talk about it? He goes, all the time. Like I just asked him 2 + 2 is 4. It's just that simple, right? And so, okay. So, oh yeah, I believe the earth's flat as well. So, but he was more concerned about driving truck, right? And, we had a pleasant conversation, but it wasn't a big deal to him. So later that evening, I met this guy. He was on his computer. It kind of seemed like he was a little bit on the, like shy side. Like he was out of his character, out of his environment. And I said, "Hey, so how's your studying today?" Good. I said, "Well, what'd you do before you became a truck driver?" He goes, "I used to fly for I think it was Delta or something like that, from America to England all the time." I said, so you know.
What's up, everybody? It's Amish. I had something funny come up today, and it was about the moon landing. And years and years and years ago, back when I believed in it, I thought it was pretty funny because, the real truth of it is that I never actually looked at the footage, and I actually don't think the majority of people who actually believe in it actually looked at the footage ever. And I look at it now, and I remember when I got so angry, I was defending NASA, and I was like, you guys are crazy, and then NASA's like, oh, we don't have the telemetry data. We lost the tapes. We can't show it to you anymore. Sorry, you can't examine it. And I'm like, yo, you're not helping. You're not helping. I'm up here defending you, and you're not helping. How are you just going to say you lost the greatest expedition ever in mankind, and you just casually lost it? And you also can't build it again. I was actually really devastated. And I find it hard to believe because there's family members of mine that actually look at this and go, that's so fake. And they're not flat earthers. And I don't get it. I don't get how so many people actually believe in it. It's pretty nasty. Pretty nasty work. But it is funny. Occasionally I watch it for entertainment now. And so it's pretty good.
You know what's really crazy? So all of the stars appear to rotate around Polaris. Simultaneously, all of the planets in our solar system appear to rotate around Polaris. And the sun and the moon also just so happen to appear to rotate around Polaris. But how is that possible if the Earth is just zipping around the sun, and then the solar system is zipping around the galaxy, and then the galaxy is zipping through space at millions and millions of miles per hour? But we have the same constellations and the same planets, all appearing to orbit Polaris year after year. Now, that's what an astrology chart is. An astrology chart is the positions of the planets in different constellations in relation to each other, with Polaris in the center, and then the geometry that they create in relation to each other in each house is supposed to affect your moods and your fate and your fortune here in the physical realm. That's what astrology is. It's based off of a flat earth model. It's not based off of this chicken scratch that is pushed upon us.
Sphering of Flat Earth, Part 1. In 1883, a conference of the International Geodetic Association was held in Rome. They recommended a zero longitude prime meridian be officially established in Greenwich, England. This conference was followed by the International Meridian Conference in Washington, D.C. in October of 1884, where the recommendation was agreed to and adopted by the international community. Side note, the Geodetic Association, who made the initial recommendation, also have a database that placed a network of survey markers all over the Earth. These survey markers officially triangulate short distances and apply the spherical law of cosine's theorem to invert flat plane distances into spherical measurements. This method of measurement keeps Earth's positional reference points fed to international agencies via their database, which renders a mathematical model of a globe Earth. This global model is fed to all connected GPS devices, informing outputs such as our digital maps on our handheld devices, in our cars, and the instrumentation used by airlines. You may even walk down the street and notice these markers in the sidewalk every so often. Joined to the decision of positioning Greenwich as the zero prime meridian, a decision was also made to change the numbering of the longitudes. On old maps, we can see that between the zero, or prime meridian, and the 180 degree, or antimeridian, now the international dateline, the maps counted forward by 5 degrees and continued counting all the way back to the zero longitude. The decision was made in 1884 at the conference in Washington, D.C., that longitudes would now reverse count from the 180 degree back to the prime meridian in Greenwich, England. The question has to be asked, why would they need the 180 meridian to be the point where they started counting backwards? Considering it naturally goes through northern Siberia, they had to zigzag this line through the Bering Sea between the Diomede Islands and back again. Alaska is held at a 21-hour time difference to Siberia, which is allegedly across the Bering Strait at the Diomede Islands, which are only 2.4 miles apart. One of them is in Russia and one is in the Alaska time zone. The time difference needs to be investigated. Sphering the Flat Earth, Part 2, A Slice of Pie. In Part 1, we learned that geodetic survey markers allow for short, flat Earth distance calculations that invert the flat Earth into a spherical model for daily maintenance of the indoctrination and magic of heliocentrist cosmology. It was the Pythagoreans, or followers of the teachings of Pythagoras, who practiced the inversion models, a sun-worshipping cult, who played their part in the long-lived Babylonian Mystery School, a program that ran ancient societies such as Egypt and Babylon. These priests of heliocentrism leveraged necessary complex, abstract theorems such as those that emerged from Babylonian esoteric traditions, and who also revered the pentagram. Their occult traditions fomented liberal philosophies that informed the instructions of the Kabbalah, and included worship of the spheres of the so-called Tree of Life. Sphering the flat circle of the Earth by complex mathematical theorems required adept, complex mathematical skill. Modern academic culture worships these polymath geometer, philosopher, astrologer, astronomers. Today, a symbol of these mystery religion practices can be seen in the Masonic square and compass of the Freemasons, indicating geometry or even geomancy. Some say it represents God to the Freemasons. Mystery Babylon hides the shape of the earth, God, and land in plain sight. It's no wonder the movies drop hints at what they've done. We just have to know what it is we're looking at. So now you know. Sphering the Flat Earth, Part 3, Part and Parcel. Parts 1 and 2 discuss the fixing of the prime meridian and geodetic survey markers to triangulate flat Earth into a sphere model. The infamous Red Hat Club implemented a geomancy agenda to hide God and his land by changing the perception of the Earth's shape. Ptolemy, Mercator, John Dee, and Satan Claus, or Saint Nick, are considered liberators and mathematical magi. In the mix is Hermes Trismegistus, and again, John Dee for playing lead roles in the time of great deception. Note also the fascination with the amillary sphere that shows latitude and longitudes, creating this spherical shape. Hermeticism teaches the worship of celestial spheres and holds the globe like a torch, hailing liberation by the subjugation of mankind, the practice of inverting perception of Earth's cosmology designed by God for his glory and for our good. Triangulation and spheres aside, look at the famous depiction of Ptolemy, not only looking like Saint Nick, but also holding a geometric compass over the entrance to the Terra de Yeso, which it also translates to Land of Jesus. In the book of Isaiah, we are told that God veils the land and his people, yet on maps the land is hidden by the magic of geodesy to keep mankind in the dark. Revelation 20 tells us, in the time of deception during the little season, Gog and Magog will be deceived by Satan to go up over the broad plain of the earth surrounding the camp of the saints and the beloved city. What a crazy idea that mankind has been bribed with sugary sweets and toys, technology wrapped up like origami. The earth is a Christmas gift in paper, folded and measured to keep the truth of our realm hidden from us, created for our pleasure and demise, as if by Santa himself to keep us in a state of childlike bliss, willing kidnap victims. Here you can see the Library of Congress. The first printed globe in 1509 was shown in pieces. The globe here can be seen cut into shapes called gores. The earliest globe depictions are even described as a cut and paste job to wrap the map around a sphere. A noted indication of hidden land is right here. On the 180 longitude, we can see partially hidden land. Here you can see the gores are for a 12-centimeter globe. In 1507, this was to wrap a piece of land around the sphere. In Matthew 13:44, Jesus says, "And again the kingdom of heaven is like unto treasure hid in a field, the which when a man hath found, he hideth, and for joy thereof goeth and selleth all that he hath, and buyeth that field." The leaders of this world are all in on the great deception to hide God and the land of promise by wrapping the treasure of the earth within a folded map, offering it to their god Lucifer, Moloch, Baal. These are magi, magicians, and they laugh at how easy it is to beguile the masses and pull off the greatest con job in history. In Matthew 23:13, Jesus states, "Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you shut up the kingdom of heaven against men. For ye neither go in yourselves, neither suffer ye them that are entering to go in."
Just another quick one, whilst the clock mechanism printing. We do have all of the globe measurements, as we know. We were all given these, and I've took this basis on this basis, so that is exactly the same size as this, because this is the rail that this stands on. And as you can see, I'm going to keep all the angles correct, exactly the same what they say on this, right, is being used on here, no different. Only difference is I'm not doing circular maths, I'm doing triangular maths. Because when you use a triangle, I can't answer that because it's one of the questions you need to know.
Here's the highly debated flat earth map from 1892. It was Gleason's new standard map of the world on the projection of modern college, scientifically and practically correct as it is. Interesting how they said this and talked about this. Really interesting here. We'll start with the area I always like to look at, Tartaria, which shows all as the Russian Empire. And then you have Mongolia. Interesting. But, I mean, more importantly, let's go check out the Antarctic area. Well, first off, the Arctic area looks pretty wild. Check that out. It's like a big black hole, right? The inner Earth, maybe? Who knows? I don't know. Thought that was pretty wild in itself. But I have maps that show, like, used to have land around there. Thought that was crazy. But more importantly, you'll see where they've kind of mapped out here from 1890s areas that they have land they could actually land on, and then there's areas that they couldn't land on. So we'll go through. You'll see like this big area here, South Victoria land, but then right here it was a barrier of ice, so they weren't going anywhere. It's around there, just ice, and then appearance of land. I don't know if they could get to the land, and then it just stops from there, going around. And then more land that they had found when they were around the big islands here. Not the islands, continents here. Yeah, thought it was really interesting. I'd like to know your thoughts on this this map, and it being a depiction of the Earth being flat, showing all the different countries. They also say this is the way it makes more sense when you're trying to take a flight. They've shown the flight paths. I remember seeing some videos on that as well. So I'll even go down here and show you where they show the moon. It's in their solstice and showing where it's out. I mean, not the moon, I'm sorry, the sun. And where the sun is out on the December solstice. And then you go to the other side and shows the June solstice where the sun's end closer to the Arctic Circle. It's very interesting. I find this map very interesting. It also received a patent, so the patent was actually allowed. Well, that was kind of wild. Again, this was the a map from the Gleason's map that's highly debated. You know, before I let you go, let's just take a peek at the USA and see what we got going on here. Anything out of the ordinary real quick? Not seeing too much out of the ordinary. Alright, well anyways, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and until next time.
The Flat Earth map dates back over 1,000 years. This map is credited to being created by a Persian astronomer. His name was Al-Biruni, and he lived between 973 AD to 1048 AD. It's the official map of the United Nations and also the United States Geological Survey. It used to be present in many places before the creation of NASA and the Antarctic Treaty in 1959. Here you see it with Admiral Byrd. This map has been restored by Dmitry from Russia with suggestions of mine, Eddie Alenkar. Known by my YouTube channel Flat Earth Banjo, I asked Dmitry to include the Bermuda Triangle and Point Nemo, a place deep in the Pacific where NASA buries rockets. Then Robert Tozzi, a professional mapmaker, came along and enhanced the map even more. There are many people now selling this map online, but if you could order it from my online store, I would greatly appreciate it. Visit my online store now and order one of the items. I humbly thank you.